You make good money, or maybe even make great money, but you don't know where all your money's going. I've worked with a lot of people who have the same problem where they're making decent money, they work hard for their money, and they're smart people, but for some reason, at the end of the month, they just don't have any money. And this is a pretty common occurrence that happens to a lot of people, but I'm going to help you turn over some metaphorical couch cushions where you can discover where your money's at and where it's going. If you really want to know where your money's going, the first place to start is by tracking your expenses. This is going to give you a realistic view, a true view of where your money's actually going. And honestly, it might just piss you off a little bit when you see where your hard-earned money is actually going. You might discover that there's some subscriptions or things you're paying for that you don't even use or you don't even need. You might find that companies that you're subscribed to, that they've added hidden fees and they've raised their prices, they've raised their rates, and you're paying more than you thought you were. Or you might find that you're going to work every day, you're working hard, and all of your hard-earned money is going to Visa or MasterCard because you have so many debt payments. When you start tracking your expenses and see realistically where your money's going, it brings all of this stuff to the surface. And a really great place to start with this is simply by printing out your monthly bank statement. You can go online, or if you have an app, or if you're old school, you can actually go down to the bank and have them print one off for you and go look at where all your money went the last month or the last quarter, and get a realistic view of how you're spending your money, or what bills it's actually going towards, or where all this money is going. Now, for most people, they don't want to do this because they're kind of like, well, all my money's going to bills. And this might be true. A lot of your money might be going to bills, but if you want to figure this out, you got to do a little bit of self-reflection. What I found when working with many people who are trying to figure this whole situation out is that when you make good money, you tend to do a lot more mindless spending. That's on things where, small things. Like, for example, when I was early on in my career, somebody encouraged me to do the same thing, to look at my expenses, look at my bank statement. And I found I was paying like $200, which again, for you, it's probably not a lot. But for me at the time, $200 was a big deal. I was spending $200 on fast food. And that was mostly in getting a coffee and a sandwich in the morning, or a coffee and a bagel, then the occasional fast food out with the family type situation. Again, not big expenses, but it added up. Again, $200 for you might not be a ton, but when you think about the $200 for fast food, and then maybe $200 for drinks, and then maybe a couple $100 going out to eat with friends, and then maybe spend another couple $100 on, hobbies. Pretty soon, what we find with most people is that they're paying $2,000, $3,000 on these random miscellaneous items that they hadn't really thought about. And it's just kind of mindless spending that doesn't really bring you joy. So this might be you. You might have more money than you think, but in order to discover where your money is going, you have to start tracking your expenses. Now, like I said, printing out a monthly bank statement, that's a great way to see, and you could do this every week or every month if you want to, but there are several budgeting apps available. You can Google them, you can go to whatever app store you use, whether you're Apple or Android, and you can download a couple of them, see which one you like, and find out what works for you. But the important thing is that you start to pay attention to where your money is actually going and why it feels like you should have more, you should be able to save more than you're not. And tracking your expenses is going to be able to get you there. And once you do this, guys, it's such a cool experience because, for one, you'll be able to start planning for the future. For some people, they're actually able to save money for the first time ever in their life, which was really, really cool. And I know it's a little bit crazy, but you actually might be able to enjoy your money and get more joy out of it because you're able to be intentional with it.